So, good
Okay.
afternoon, everyone. My name is Siddharth Sharma. On behalf of Botminds, I welcome you all for this exclusive virtual webinar on intelligent automation for capital markets and investment banking research. Thank you very much for sparing your time and joining the session. Before we start, a few guidelines I would like to make you aware of. This webinar is happening on Teams platform, so your names will be visible in the attendee list. And also this session will be recorded. Hope you are fine with the same. Request you to please be on mute and turn off your camera during the session. We will take your questions in the Q&A session. Please use hand raise option in case of any queries and questions. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can post the same in the chat box. Giving a brief description about the webinar, in today's time, there are more research sources and requirements, and you need an approach to do it faster than others. Empower your analysts to go through mounds of analyst reports, annual reports, press releases, and investor presentations, and complete the fundamental research in 20x speed. Botminds AI platform extracts key data from unstructured documents and websites, reshaping the way to do your research. You will see a case study of how leading investment research firms use Botminds AI in their research process. With this, I would like to hand it over to Mr. Gokul Ganapati, founder and CEO Botminds AI. Talking about Gokul's background, Gokul is driving innovation at Botminds, passionate about making AI read and understand documents just like humans, working closely with enterprises, helping them leverage the latest document understanding AI to bring efficiency in their SME heavy processes. Now I hand it over to Mr. Gokul for the presentation.
Thanks, Sid. Hope you can hear me good.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. Yes, it's time to reimagine the way fundamental research done in investment banks, asset management companies, capital markets in general. It's because a lot of things you generally expect from your research analyst or financial analyst can be now offloaded to AI. So that's the idea, of this keynote or this, the general theme of this webinar. So, hello, because all good.
Video is not moving, Gokul. The video is frozen.
Oh, okay. Let me turn it on again. How about now?
Works good. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Right. So, as I'm saying, I'm planning to do the keynote into 4 broad sections. Okay. So first, what we do at Botminds, and a few examples to show how far AI advanced and how it all comes, and then how it all comes together to develop modern AI-powered ESG data pipeline, and finally how you can leverage Botminds AI in your enterprises. So that's the broad agenda for me in this keynote. Now, to introduce Botminds, we make document process automation easy for our customers. Documents, the unstructured contents are everywhere in the enterprise. If you want to automate a process that involves documents, then you need an AI first approach, right? And then you need a no code. Basically, you have to enable your subject matter experts directly so that they can create the automation they want. That means you need no code. Then you cannot wait for months or years. So that means a lot of things should be readily available so that you can just connect those things as a Lego blocks. Then you can create end-to-end automation. So that's what we provide to you in Botminds. Basically, we help you to automate your document-centric processes without having to worry about the technology, because we have an AI that can read and understand documents just like humans. Now, what for it is, right? It's basically to automate any document centric or knowledge centric process in weeks. And if we have to do it in weeks, basically it should be point and click. There should not be any worry about the technology algorithm and all. That's what we give you. So it's a point and click no code platform, and our AI understands all type of documents. For example, in this case, be it an annual report or a 10K filing or an or investor presentation or a press release or an earning call transcript, anything that you are using for your fundamental research, those documents can be read by Botminds AI, be it a PDF or a web page or a scanned image, all good for us. So our Botminds AI understands all type of documents. It's completely template free. That means it just basically reads and understands just like a human do. And again, training our Botminds AI platform for your need or for your purpose, it's also simple. It's you can do it with just 100 examples, because most of the time people are thinking that getting an AI best performing AI model needs large data set, or it takes too much of effort to create the data. No, not at all. That's a myth. So what using Botminds, you can have your own AI solution with just hundreds of examples. Now I'm going to quickly run through a few examples, because I'm talking about cutting edge document understanding AI, how it can read documents just like a human do. But I want I want you to see few examples in a few scenarios in action. Now, if you before getting into that, if you see how it is currently done, right? So if any research, you can expect these 4 steps. People will monitor for any newly available newly available or publicly available documents, be it in filings or press release. You have to manually go through the documents. You have to extract information from from the document. It can be anywhere. It can be anywhere in the hundreds of page. It can be in a table or a notes. It can be anywhere. Manually, you'll go through, you'll extract that information, you will feed it into the Excel financial models, and then you will do some calculations and forecasting. Now, after that, you will consolidate those data from multiple sources or multiple documents of multiple years together, and then you will download. So this is a fairly humongous, time-consuming human manual task most of the time. It takes hours, and and if it is if not days, not minutes, if not days, you have to spend at least some hours. Now with Botminds, basically you can expect the same in minutes, right? You don't have to spend hours of time. You don't have to expect hours of your analyst work, right? You can do the entire process, right from getting the documents to extracting information to consolidating in a table or in the financial model and downloading as a consolidated output. You can do it in minutes. Why? It's actually just one step process. Now all other steps, like it's done before even you open the document in Botminds platform. So our system can monitor the sources for you. Okay, I'm seeing presentation. Because can you see the presentation? Can you confirm?
I can see the presentation, yeah. Good. Slide number 6. You're okay.
Okay, good. Thanks. So you can, our system can automatically, Botminds AI can automatically load the documents of your interest from any number of sources. It does the first parsing. It reads the entire document. It may be a 10-page document or 100-page document. It reads, it extracts the values from the tables and notes, and it does the calculation automatically, right? If you want to do, for example, EBITDA calculation or a margin calculation, or what is the growth percentage, lot of calculations you can you can make our Botminds AI to do before even open the document. So that's essentially it's a single step process now, right? So you can expect the entire process to be done in a minute. Okay. Now, if you, as I said, I want to run through a few examples. For example, here, it's a complex table. right? In an annual report, this table contains some information you're looking for, but this table, for human, it's simple. It's a 3-column table. Okay, the first column talks about the information. The second column is the latest year. The last column is previous year. But for a machine to understand which column it should look for, it's itself a challenging one. So it needs a cutting-edge table understanding capability. That's what we have as a built-in component as Botminds AI. Maybe if I can pause here, for example, you are talking about current assets. It's basically human-grade intelligence. For a human, it's okay. It's a current assets. Yeah, 419 in 4195. It's a current value for current assets. But if you go for an OCR or other traditional solutions, you will get a 0 because against current assets is just empty or no value there. Just case you will get 0 from other systems. But our AI can understand, okay, this is the column you know we have to look for, and this current assets, there is a bold, so it talks about title, and then all other indentation, and this value is the it comes with underline. So it takes into account all these things, and it automatically figures out this is the right value for current assets, and it gives to the analyst. So analyst can confirm, or you can do edit if you want. Now, achieving this kind of AI is certainly possible with Botminds AI, and this data points, whatever I mentioned here, right, current assets and net income, is just for demonstration purpose. You can define, or you can tell us what information you want to have, and you can get the same kind of model in few days. Now moving on, not just in tables, right? If you are looking, in extraction, information extraction from filings, annual report or a filing is not just with a table. For example, amortization expense. It may be somewhere in 50th page or 17th page. It extracted, given to you, but it's actually from table. Text. The one more thing I failed to highlight is, the deep linking. It's not just data extraction. An analyst can quickly see from where it got extracted. You click on that value, it will take you to the exact location. You can quickly verify. If you think that's wrong, then you can find the correct value and you can edit all those stuff in rare cases, right? So not just in tables, it's also from notes or the text content our system can extract. Again, the data points are completely our system is completely flexible. You can define what information you want to extract. Now, okay, you're saying a document, it's automatically extract, but how I can use, right? Yes, you can verify, you can validate, you can do edit, all good. But inbuilt capability, we have capability to extract information in the format you're looking for. By out of box, we support CSV, TSV, JSON, and we can also work with your team the format you're looking for, and in the way in the kind of columns or the structure, we can very well customize to your need. And even in the download, you can see the deep link maintained. It's not just a data point and value. You will also, you can also get the source link. So you can click on that link. It will take you back to that exact location from where we got the value. Okay, so I talked about 10K filings, right? It's a table and paragraphs or text. But even call transcripts, because nowadays more and more people are thinking about call transcripts. For example, recently even SEBI mandated now all the conversation should get recorded. It should be available. Transcript should be available. So these are most sought after capability from Botminds. So any transcript publicly available, you can train. You can create your own custom AI model using Botminds that looks for the information you are looking for, because different institutions may want to look for different data point. For example, you want to know, is there any mention about COVID, or is there any mention about positive impact because of COVID, or the EPS impact because of COVID. So you can train a model purpose built for your financial model, and then you can use our platform in the way you want. So not just tables and paragraphs, even call transcripts, freewheeling discussions recorded as a transcript. You can very well train an AI to do the same thing. Now, moving on, I'm running through examples because just I want to give you some idea how you can use the AI, latest AI for your purpose. So I talked about calculations, right? Here in this case, for example, we are extracting value. But the model, I mean, what you have expects some other data points. It needs, some, percentage calculation between two data points or two values, or comparing against the previous year value. You can do all these things right within our platform, or you don't have to do. Our platform, our AI will do for you, and then you can verify whether it is correct or not. It's a one-time configuration. The capability is readily available within our platform. You can tell us what your model is expecting, and then we can do it for you, and then we can make it available right in our interface. Now, it's not just table or text or calculations. Going further, we can also do the same in web pages. We can go and get the pages. I mean, you're looking for example, you want to create a company profile. Okay, that means you want to, I mean, the fundamental data you're extracting from, let's say, 10K filing, but you want to extract some additional detail, latest job post maybe from, their web page. Yeah, you can go and extract, or you can, train our AI to do that, and we can, we can create a company profile just like how we extracted from a PDF. So we will identify the pages of interest, maybe about us page. In the hundreds of pages in the website, we can identify the page that talks about us, page that talks about management. We'll go further and extract name or address, and we will make it available right in our platform. So again, you can click and verify whether it is correct, and then you can download in the structure you want. So that's it about the examples. But what I showcased here is the capability. I mean, most of the time, we think this should be done only manually, or the technology is not there yet, or it is difficult to get the AI in the way I want. But it's all possible now. So that's why I said, it's time to reimagine the way fundamental research is happening, right? The research is about, getting the documents that contains the information, and also finding the information your model expects, and all those things now you can very well train an AI to do that for you. Now, what I'm also want to talk about is a case study to showcase how all these things comes together to make an impact. So ESG, right? I mean, ESG is more and more people are talking about it, or setting up the ESG dashboard or ESG ratings. Now, to get a good comprehensive or accurate rating or dashboard, what you need is a way to get the relevant documents, like sustainability reports, or press releases, or even the litigations filed against the company or leadership team. So you have to monitor many sources, and you have to bring it all inside, and then you need an AI to extract, and then you have to pass it to your analytics engine to give the ratings. But now the problem here is even more complex than the data extraction from a press release or 10K filings, because it's completely what to say, not standard, right? A sustainability report is completely unstandard. I mean, not established. We don't have any what to say, standard, like this is how you have to mention about carbon emission, or this is how you have to mention about the executive directors, or women directors. So it's still evolving. And in the 10K filings or other situations, I mean, you can expect this information in balance sheet, or you can expect this information in income statement. No, this is completely unstructured problem, even more complex unstructured problem. And then it's and also it is too many sources you have to process. So that's why, I mean, when we applied all our technology advancement or Botminds AI capability to ESG data pipeline, the kind of impact we can able to deliver is tremendous. Like previously, the customer estimated to do in every new company they take at least a week, but they said 90% of time. And they don't need, I mean, they whatever resources they estimated, they saved 80% on that. And also they started to go with 60 companies. They wanted to cover the 60 companies in the one quarter, but they can able to do 600 companies in the first quarter, but they can able to do 3,000 companies. So it's because of the automation, right? So now we can monitor sources, we can process more documents, and we can augment the people who are involved in this research So we can achieve scale in all dimensions. So this is something, a more interesting case study. Very recently we worked. It is possible because of all the capability, right? Be it monitoring the sources or extracting information from table or extracting information from text. Everything, I mean, even web page, everything should come together to deliver this solution. Now, I mean, finally, I want to quickly demonstrate the live. Okay, live platform, because the same ESG, right? This is the complexity involved in ESG, right? What you're seeing is the Botminds platform screen. So the actual sustainability report or annual report loaded directly in our platform. The moment an analyst opens this document, they can see all the values are pre-populated in the right hand side. It's automatically happens. So you click on that value, it will take you to that exact location from where we got the value. Now this value 8557 is in 76th page of the 86 page document, but it AI understands the complexity of the table. It understands, okay, this column contains that scope one emission, I mean scope one value, but it is not mentioned as scope one. It is given as a direct GHG emission, but still it goes and extracts, and it says the unit of measurement is 1000, and it is for 2019 year because 2019 mentioned somewhere in the top. And the same way, if you click on that scope 2, and you can see it takes you to the exact location. Now, as I mentioned in the other video, so you can download in the structure they want, and not just this table value. As I mentioned, it's a lot other values they want as part of the DSG dashboard. Everything is given in the interface, and you can click and you can verify whether it is correct or not. Okay, so that one thing I want to quickly showcase. And moving back, okay. Yeah. Okay. So all right. I mean, all good. But if you ask me how you can get started with Botmind, right? So that's simple too, right? You may want to leverage the same capabilities, but we can give you that enterprise access. I mean, enterprise license access to our platform. You can load the documents from where you want to. It may be a press release, a set of press releases, or annual report, or 10K filing, whatever may be the document. You upload. Our system natively understands those documents. That's the power of the ready-made building blocks I talked about. And then the third step is training, right? You tell the system what information you want to extract, and you give some examples. That's the training. That's the only thing we are expecting from your subject matter experts. And then you can have the data points extracted given in the format you're looking for. So that's a simple 4-step process to create your own Botminds AI solution in the platform. Sometimes you want, I mean, you don't have time, or you want to leverage already existing solution. That's also possible. We just launched marketplace in our platform. So our partners who are already used our platform to create solution. For example, you want to extract a table, I mean, balance sheet alone as is. I don't want anything, but I want to upload an annual report. I want to extract table balance sheet as is in a Excel format. You can come and use the solution available in the platform. You can get started immediately. Or you want to extract some data points already trained by our partner, yeah, you can get started immediately. So either you can train your own AI using our platform, it takes a few weeks, or you can use a readily available solution, either developed by Botminds or our partner, and you can get started immediately. And not only getting started, you can also adapt, or you can change. For example, that solution gives 10 data points. I want 2 more data points. Yeah, you can extend that using our platform. And it's also, I mean, fairly easy to get started with Botminds. You can set up a call to our folks, solution engineers, who will come and meet you to understand the scenario, the scope, and then we are happy to do a quick POC within a week. And then, I mean, it's a kind of free of charge. We'll do concept POC, and then you can get into more involved AI development. Again, it is a few weeks, and then you can start seeing the results. So that's the 4-step engagement model. And it's again, one more thing is, it's a horizontal platform, as I mentioned again and again. Yeah, using one single platform, you can automate many of the processes within your organization. For example, one team may be dealing with 10K filings or 10 SEC reports. Maybe another team is completely on term loan agreements. You want to extract information from contracts. So you can use for all the processes within your enterprise. That's the horizontal nature of our platform. And the kind of impact what we have shown, we have given to our clients are, be it a cost saving or a capacity augmentation or operational efficiency, or kind of 10x or 20x. So you can also see that kind of ROI within few weeks. So that's what with that I want to stop, and with that I want to open this for a discussion. Thank you everyone, and hope it was useful, and I look forward to the questions from the audience. Hello.
Gokul, I'm here.
Great.
Sid, are you going to take this up now? All right. Anyways, so thanks, Gokul. Thank you very much for walking everybody through the capabilities that Botminds platform essentially offers. At this time, I think we have 5 minutes, and we could probably take any questions that the audience may have. Yep. There was a question earlier. Let's see. All right. So this Lakshya, I'm going to pick up one by one. Gokul, you can see the questions as well. The first question is, have you done any ICR implementation, and what is the accuracy?
Great. So ICR is inbuilt in our platform. I mean, for the people who are not aware of the term, so intelligent character recognition. So it inbuilt in our platform, for example, if you have any scanned images and all. But more than ICR, you can also train an AI on top of it, because ICR won't help you in the scenarios where I explained, like a table or a running text kind of scenario. So you can train an AI. That's the added advantage. And to answer your accuracy, so yeah, accuracy, you will get a starting accuracy of at least 80%, and then you can quickly ramp up the accuracy with more examples. That's the power of continuous learning ML integrated platform.
Thanks,
Hope I answered, Mr.
Lakshmi, for asking the question. Second question is coming in from Kawalpreet. The question is, do you have any use case examples that we can run on our own?
Oh, absolutely. So use case examples, as I mentioned, we just launched a marketplace where you can go and try yourself, and we are, I mean, it's kind of solution development, right? So it needs some bit of involvement from our people to guide you how to use the platform. So that's why the engagement model, if you see, we a call to understand the scenario you want to solve, and then we develop a concept POC where we will explain to you how it is. It's within a week, and then you can be on your own.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else has any more question? You're very welcome to turn on your audio and video and ask the question to Gokul directly.
Yes, audience, please, or you can put up your questions in the chat box so that Gokul or Vikas can take those questions.
Sure.
So we have one question from Prasad. Whether we can use it for legal profession, what could be the initial cost?
Okay, that's interesting, right? Legal is the domain where we started very initially, right? So our core USP is extracting information from legal documents, kind of thing. I talked about annual report where it is a lot of running text, and even interesting scenarios extracting from agreements, or for example leases, or tender documents. So we have solved other kind of scenarios. So legal team loves our platform. So feel free to reach out to our team. We're happy to show the demo. Yeah. And because you want to take that cost person.
Yeah, I mean, sure. So essentially, I think cost is best discussed based on the scenario, but this is a large platform, and you have tiers which are available on the basis of number of pages and so on and so forth. So very happy to discuss this with you, Prasad, after the webinar.
Sure, we'll surely connect Prasad with you post the webinar. We have last question, which is from Divya. Is this bot solution available for interface with ERP SAP to automate some process?
Yeah. So all the actions I mentioned, right from getting the results from document or loading the document into a system available as an API also. So you can use readily available RESTful APIs to connect to your upstream or downstream systems, right, including SAP. And and that's where our team also can help you. I mean, we have what's a white glove onboarding process where our solution engineers will work with you, so you can use their help to create that integration also.
I guess we have last question that I'll take with you, Gokul, which is by Sudhakar. Can we fetch the data from multiple sources, and how the issue of login is addressed if user ID or password is required?
Okay, so our currently we deal with, I mean, we'll deal with public sources, publicly available documents. You can configure immediately, just point and click, you can configure the source. If it comes to private source, assuming you have access or you want to automate, you want to do with that monotonous, boring work, anyway you will do with humans. Yes, we have capability. We call that a recording step recorder. You can record the steps and then you can deploy that as a bot in our platform. So we can log in and get the documents you're looking for.
Okay.
CAPTCHA,
I have
no.
few.
Last question from CAPTCHA. No, we are not doing that CAPTCHA reading.
Okay. Thank you so much, Gokul, for your session and sharing insights with complete detailed information about Botminds. I look forward to the audience if they are interested in any more uh, information, or if they have any questions, they can put up in the chat box because we have one more session of Q&A post the panel discussion. Moving towards our next session, which is a complete panel discussion on automation opportunities and success stories in capital markets industry. This will be moderated by Mr. Vikas Anand, VP of Sales and Marketing at Botminds. Talking about Vikas' background, Vikas holds 20 plus years of experience in IT sales, with last decade in RPA automation solution sales. With Blue Prism and Edgeworth, he closely watched the evolution of RPA into IPA and identified cognitive capability to understand documents as a next big thing. I hand it over to Vikas to take ahead for the panel discussion.
Thank you, Sid. And thanks, Gokul, for setting everything up very well. Now, I would like to welcome our panel members. First up, on the basis of order of the alphabets, I would ask Mr. Mahesh Gandhi. He's the head of operations for Kratos Capital Advisors. He has spent roughly about 20 years within the capital markets. Thanks, Mahesh. Thanks for joining. Second, I would invite Juzer Dalal. Mr. Juzer is the Associate Vice President, Operations and Finance for Motilal Oswal Asset Management, and he has spent about 12 years in operations and finance overall. Welcome, Juzer. Thanks. Then I have Mr. Shivanand Ramachandran. He's the Director of Capital Markets Policy India CFA Institute and was part of Morningstar. I believe there's a recent change in his work as well, but that's the introduction that I have for him. Mr. Shivanand, thank you very much for joining today.
Thanks for having me here. Thank you.
Last but not least, I would like to invite Mr. Yatin Chodnekar, Chief Operating Officer, Valify Solutions Private Limited. And he has spent a lot of time, I believe, in large multinational asset management companies, globally.
Thank you for having me on the panel.
Thank you, Yatin. Thanks for joining. All right. So I just want to quickly kick it off. Gokul has set up the fact that capital markets definitely has a lot of challenges, and by challenges I mean the way the documents come through and they need to be addressed. Gokul has pushed in a way of how a solution like Botminds can essentially help. And that's our area of work. Industry expertise is your area of work. So I want to use this next 30-35 minutes to take all the experience that you have basis within the capital market, investment banking, industry, and basically share with the audience certain challenges that you've had. So I'll start. Let me start with you, Mr. Yatin. First is, what challenges do you think the capital market industry currently faces when it comes down to process automation, and what do you think organizations have kind of tried so far?
When I talk about challenges, right, I will talk less about challenges and talk more about opportunities. Because being a positive frame of mind, the challenges is they need to overcome the mental block. The technologies that are available are here to automate and enable them to achieve scale, reduce the time of processing, also superfine the analysis and the reports and their research work. So the opportunities which lie for capital markets and investment banking firms are they need to leverage blockchain technology to enhance A, data transparency, B, artificial intelligence to enhance pricing decisions in bond security trading. This is an area which is a whole lot of opportunity which people, I mean, individuals and corporates should capitalize on. Digital security is a new generation of asset class. Robotic process automation, Gokul mentioned about it, right? Simplifies client onboarding, and a lot is talked about that. Quantum investing, new buy side trend is gaining grounds. Now, when I'm talking these, there are some firms which are torch bearers who are already investing their time and efforts in doing this. Common domain model aims to standardize derivative trading and management. Last but not the least, machine learning will boost automation in capital market and investment banking. So what I see is when I look at the opportunities that lie on the table because of the use of these technologies, whatever challenges we have, we need to overcome them and jump in and be the torch bearer to have a competitive edge and advantage over the rest. So over to you, Vikas.
Okay, thank you. I think that's an interesting way to look at it, not as challenges, but as an opportunities. So Mr. Ramachandran, I would ask you to see your thoughts on the basis of what Mr. Yatin just mentioned. What do you think about that? So you've gone back on mute.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You want me to talk about the general challenges or
yeah, general challenges the capital market industry sees, and Mr. Yatin just gave his comments. I mean, I just want to understand your comments as well on the similar topic as well.
Right. So I think broadly speaking, right? So I think the industry is proceeding apace when it comes to standardization and so on, right? So historically, right? So there used to be all this like army of teams and so on, who are collecting data, and like then there are set of analysts who are like adding value and so on and so forth, right? And I think increasingly it is the divisions are getting blurred, and as more and more uh, like analysts are looking at extracting information from these like others alternative sources and so on, right? So increasingly they are expected to exercise significant judgment when it comes to making sense of data as well, right? So there is no such thing as can you work with the data team, sort this issue, and get back to me, and so on and so forth, right? So I think the data analytics and data expertise is a critical skill, right? So there is no separation between the so-called data gatherers and so on and so forth, and then you have these data providers who are like keeping up and trying to provide more and more information, and and then there is skill sets, right? So people are trying to learn like all kinds of. So I can't imagine anyone who works in finance who doesn't have a cursory knowledge of Python, right? So I think there is a confluence of different things which are happening, right? But the traditional structures, they are getting modified.
Okay, thank you for that. That's an interesting point, and I think I want to add in here before I go to Joseph for his comments. I think the key piece here, what you started about the fact that data analytics, data providers, and I think the larger piece, even as with Gartner mentioned that 80% of data within the organization enterprise is unstructured, and that's what we are dealing with. I mean, once you have a data that is sitting there, yeah, the developers or the people understanding with Python can basically work around with that. Data scientists can go ahead and do the work around that. But the key piece, as per my understanding, the challenge is how do we convert this large unstructured document, 100-page annual report, a large piece that is sitting there. How do I convert it to something that I can play with? So Joseph, I want to come to you, on this point. I mean, what do you think the technology's role will be, when it comes down to specifically the topic that we are at today, with capital market investment banking?
So I would like to highlight in the sense we have seen. So I am from an AMC background, predominantly into mutual funds, and we have seen that mutual funds have transitioned in terms of client onboarding from physical to online, but still, because there is lack of awareness of these products in the industry or among the investor base, there is still a lot of physical paperwork. Okay, now this technology has to find out a way in which how you convert this physical transactions into online. Obviously COVID has given that leap ahead for a lot of AMCs and a lot of investment managers to provide this, and the volumes have shot up a lot in the last 1 year, 1.5 year. But technology has to be leveraged to achieve a higher result, right? So we have only 1% of our population which is investing in mutual funds or these kind of investment products, and for that matter US may be around 10, 15% of the population, and you have the potential, but you need to bring into AI and these kind of technologies which can bring about client onboarding much seamless. It is there, but still a lot of work is required in that piece, which is very simple. And a AI solution which you guys are offering, it can actually play a very important role, which can link a lot of guys, the distributors, AMCs, even for that matter, I'll tell you regulators. For example, today SEBI has started asking data from AMCs on through AI to monitor, transactions on day-to-day basis. So this is another spectrum wherein the monitoring is real time. The traditional methods of doing audits and all that stuff will be then taken away from, and AMCs can concentrate on their business, and there will be immediate action from regulators if there is an issue in the market and stuff. So this is something, obviously these technologies will have to be empowered. Like Yatin rightly said, that mental block has to be removed from the guys who are sitting at the AMCs, guys like us. That was, you have to adopt to these technologies to make a difference.
Absolutely. Great point there. I think there is no question about the fact that COVID has been the biggest influencer when it comes down to digital transformation, for better or for worse. That's what all of us have seen. Anybody who has been sitting on a sideline, whether we should digitally transform, look at automation, etc., that kind of has moved ahead. And it looks like we are, for better or for worse, we are going to be in this scenario for a couple of years as it moves forward. And getting the benefits out. And I think a lot of paperwork, in my personal view, again, I'm looking at it as from a user perspective, you're looking from an AM perspective. I believe a lot of paperwork has kind of gone down to a significant point, but yes, it is not going to go away. So, Mr. Mesh, I'm coming to you with the fact that you run your own organization, you run your own startup. Your thoughts in terms of you mentioned very good point about compliance, and I do believe that with all this going online, the compliance requirements come through fairly fast. They also change fairly fast. Setting up the entire process at the back, which is being done manually, what with the increasing compliance requirements, changing new rules that need to be done, how do you think that'll help in terms of either technology adoption or the requirement that you would need from a technology when it comes down to your compliance and requirements there, Mr. Mesh?
Okay, thank you so much. See, I agree with Yatin and others, Shivnath and Zuzur, about the compliance part which they have touched upon. But I would like to add something very interesting here. Even though the user or the service provider automate their compliance system, the regulator is asking physical copies. So what is happening is the end user for whom we are doing all the compliance is end up asking physical copies, then we have to ultimately go to the investor and ask for the physical copies.
Mm.
So everything is going in a drain. So first level of your education, being a software people, you have to go and tell regulators that this is what is possible and this is what is genuine. If that is coming directly to their desk, that is the first point which I would like to add upon here. Now coming back to the features which you have just highlighted in your presentation, okay, I can tell you this is going to help creating image, uh, fantastic indices across globe, which include corporate governance, which was one of its kind 6 years back we were trying to develop. And all those features which were explained in the presentation, which was done manually that time. We don't have somebody to capture the data, large amount of financials, reading that 20, 50 pages, taking out the ratios, combining all those data along with the meetings, number of meetings held, who was the person who has taken out the meetings, all those corporate governance data was done manually, and it was really very horrible to come to a platform and calculate everything, unstructured data, converting unstructured data, and then coming to a result. Okay,
Mm.
these are what we are going to invest in. This is going to play a great role in doing this. Okay, this is one more area which I want you to think of. And financial data analysis, obviously, you have highlighted in your presentation.
Mm.
Another industry which I would like to touch here, where this particular software is going to really help, is securitization, security trustee in this business, where there is a lot of documents going on and there is no standard process. Each instrument is different. Each instrument has a different features, and everything has to be collated and given in a particular database management has to be done from physical to computerized data management. So there, this software is going to play a really very good role.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Mahesh. Uh, Shaitin, I'm just coming to you with a question there. I mean, given your experience within the international markets, where you've basically been participating within the capital market investment banking, what do you see, which is the global trend currently, and what part of that is already here in India in terms of the regulations, regulators, and the other areas of work? If you could just highlight something around that, please.
Sure. See, capital market firms and investment banks across the globe are creating infrastructure as well as their applications. When I say infrastructure, it's not just the hardware, but also the applications that sit on the infrastructure, capable of supporting dynamic transformation initiatives to enhance efficiency and value creation. With the continual involvement regulatory landscape is evolving continuously. It is becoming imperative for firms like us to strategize an action plan for effective compliance. Mahesh touched upon it, and I will express my thoughts on those in subsequent lines. Incumbents are transforming their legacy system and infrastructure with the help of emerging technologies such as AI, ML, RPA, blockchain, DLT. Next generation technologies like these are helping firms like us fulfill compliance obligations and automate processes to boost operational efficiency. This is very important. To boost operational efficiency by use of automation is a win case. It has tangible benefits to the organization. It enables us to achieve volumes, scale up. It's a vertical scale up. In this new era, which is like opening up, and the seeds are sown in the last 2-3 years, industry participants, and when I say industry participants, I'm referring to torch bearers. Of course, there will be many laggers who will get entangled into ifs and buts and challenges. But the industry participants who have already jumped into it need to play an equally important role alongside other stakeholders. And this is exactly the point which Mahesh also touched, such as regulators and governments, to formulate standards and best practices across different verticals. Otherwise, no matter whatever automation we do, no matter whatever optimization we do, if still the regulator is demanding physical copies, then right we are back to back 3-4 steps behind. And hence, right, these industries which are participating in this initiative, may it be capital market firms, investment banks, or software firms, they need to reach out and partner with the regulators and government, right, and to formulate standards and best practices across different verticals. Exactly similar initiative was done about 15-20 years back when NDS, RTGS systems were formulated. So industry participated with RBI, and along with the vendor TCS, right, we formulated the standards, what it should be, how it should be. So like that, a working group needs to come into picture, who is a mix of industry experts, right, firms which are users of this technologies, and regulators and governments need to part and standardize best practices across different verticals. While I say this, right, you should not hold back your initiatives. You should continue and leapfrog into this and parallelly partner with regulators and government for this standardization. So because these are the trends which are already happening in global markets across different geographies, mature geographies, and it's high time we pick up this, right, and achieve the benefits out of it.
Fantastic, Yathin. Thanks so much for sharing with that. Mr. Shivnand, I think you would have some comments there and thoughts there, maybe complement what Yathin has said.
Yeah, no, I wanted to pick up on that point about physical compliance, right? So I think what I agree with them, right? And the other issue we also see is that like companies, even when they do digital compliance, they have to do in multiple places, right? So you can't actually have one store. You have to actually, like, if you want to do publish the file the annual reports, you have to file in every separate exchange and also MCA, and like, so it's same digital compliance, you have to do it multiple times and so on. That's the other thing, right? But I do want to pick up, like, highlight one thing which I thought recently was done well when it comes to the digital ones was I think it was related to BRSR, the ESG reporting from SEBI, and MCA came out with this the whole paper, and SEBI had this consultation and everything. And one of the aspects was there was a set of metrics that you need to submit, right? So to comply with BRSR, and MCA said that you can, they will provide that option for companies to upload those metrics in a centralized location, right? So I thought, I mean, it was probably the first time I saw something like that, because usually that's the trick, is multiple compliances, physical compliances, and all that stuff. So I thought that was a good change, right? So change doesn't happen like immediately, but I think hopefully there will be a start somewhere. Right? So that's
Absolutely. Thanks for that. I think Yathin, going back to his point, Yathin, your point, I think you stated a very important thing, that it has to kind of start at the regulator piece, because what is that they would expect? We need to start working with them. And Shivnant, you mentioned a good point saying that, it needs to kind of start somewhere. So I believe, if we look at Juzer, for example, question to you really, is that, with this change, with this recommendation, what would give you confidence essentially to start with a technology like this for the organization that you're part of? What do you look at? I want to go ahead and try and implement this because this completely makes sense. Or must it come from a regulator side that you would say, unless a regulator does something, I'm not going to touch a technology? What would you typically do at your side?
So, like Yatin said, see, we have to implement it, right?
Mm,
You
mm,
have to take technology, otherwise, you will not be a differentiator in the market. Technologies, like I'll give you an example. In COVID, in a PMS space, okay, like the portfolio management services and alternates. Majorly, the industry was earlier onboarding clients at on physical. It is physical because there are certain requirements, like how Mahesh said, NSDL, CDSL, for that matter, RBI, or for that matter, SEBI wants us to submit certain documents which are physical. But a lot of players have started their onboarding solutions. It may be semi, matlab, there may be part which is onboarded, which is a digital onboarding, and there may be a part of that digital onboarding which is physical. But ultimately, it is reducing effort from a client onboarding perspective, right?
Sure.
So you will have to take this simultaneously. Whatever roadblocks you are taking, you are getting, you should raise it to SEBI or to the agencies which is required. A classic example I will tell you is in case of a demat opening by a PMS customer, you need a POA which is to be physically signed. It is not allowed digitally. It is not recognized by law. So this has to be taken up by the industry. Okay, boss, you give us this leeway where we do an other authentication that can be considered as a valid POA. If that is done through, then the entire onboarding of the PMS clients happens through digital platform and it is seamless. So these are things, these are examples where the industry players will have to push SEBI, will have to push the entire spectrum. Ke boss, you have to bring digital. But one important point is that SEBI also has to upgrade its infrastructure as well as its setup to do the necessary monitoring. So that so even if the industry is growing digitally, together with that, monitoring has to happen as well from the regulator. Okay, like in mutual funds, like I earlier said, they are doing an data sharing through API. Similarly, other regulators will have to also come, on board and bring this into consideration. Otherwise, they will not be able to cope up, and then AMCs or industry players will have to again follow their process and their compliance in an old method, which again becomes tedious and costly.
Absolutely. I think that's a very good point. And I do believe in all the digital transformations that I've done within this industry and outside. I think it's important to let the things run the way they are running and try the other things out before completely switching over. I don't think there's a black and white there, 1-on-0 scenario. It must run the way things are running right now, which is through the current process. And then you try and offload a couple of things onto the new process through the digital channel and see whatever can be offloaded there, run both in parallel, see the benefits there. And I do think, more than a platform provider like us, if there is, the industry that goes back to SEBI, I think that has a little bit more weight and value there, saying that, we are kind of ready. We've tried these things. This is how it can be done. And this is what, is a proposed example. So that's what I'm thinking. And Gokul, I wanted your view here really quickly. For organization who wants to try doing the things that they're currently doing, which is manual, and they want to try a platform like Botminds, do they have to do dual effort, or is there something that can be done within the platform which allows them to get both the things done? I mean, do the work the way the work gets done, plus try something new without having to doubling the effort? Is there a way to do that?
Yeah, that's a very important question, right? That's one of the biggest barrier. I mean, whenever I go and talk to the customers, right? Oh, you're doing, in a way it's well established. I don't want to disturb. I don't want to disturb the current what is it, whatever delivery or what the cycle time. Now, I mean, platform like Botminds, right? The real success is you can use this on day one, even without any AI. Even without any AI, you can start using your platform just like you. I mean, instead of you doing in an Excel or in another system, you can do it in this platform. The advantage is the system learns, the AI gets built parallelly, but you can continue to do the other operation used to do in other systems by establishing the integrations. Say, for example, your team can say, I'm used to do this. I used to open this annual report. I used to type it in Excel. I used to populate in the. In 1 or 2 days, we can establish that connection, whatever they do. I mean, after completing the Excel, and our system can produce the Excel, in one click. I mean, once that manually they annotate or they capture the value in our platform, they can download the Excel, and the Excel they are downloading will be same as that of they used to get after doing in the traditional way. So the real success, the real what to say, uh, the barrier breaking point is you can use the platform from day one without compromising on your other cycle time and delivery time and things like that. So that's something very important. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Gokul. I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and I want to go towards ESG because that's one of the case studies that we talked about. So, Shivanand, I'm coming to you with that question. So, ESG is definitely getting mainstream. This is a new area where everybody is trying to identify what is the right thing to report. What are things need to be reported? I know there's scope 1, scope 2, and others that to be done, but the regulations are getting formed. The what needs to be done, what needs to be extracted, what needs to be monitored, it needs to be done. And it's a complicated thing. It's hundreds pages of document that need to be read, where the extraction needs to be done. Everybody has to report, so there's compliance allowed there as well. So in your view, in your experience, I know you have some bit of experience within the ESG spaces. What's your thought around the challenges and the opportunities here when it comes down to automation or AI in general?
Okay. So I think the first thing, right? So on the question of standardization, you said that regulators are coming out with standards, but everyone is coming out with their own standards, right? So there are multiple standards which are out there currently, and they are not always comparable, right? So there are standards from the standard setters, the non-profits. Then you have regulators like European Union. They have gone the farthest, right? But there are other standards, even including SEBI and so on. So there is a lot of mishmash of data requirements according to these standards, right? So the big challenge, overarching challenge within ESG is how can you standardize all these multiple standards, right? So can you come up with one potential global solution which can solve for at least some base level ESG information that the companies are expected to report, right? Without that, you don't know what to capture and you can't compare it very well, right? So that's the baseline information. Um, the second part is, of course, I want to touch upon the non-financial, like what do you call it, the alternative data sources within ESG. So I think that's an opportunity. The first one, standardization is a challenge, but not that alternative data is an opportunity, right? So I think it's the costs of storage, the costs of access, as well as analytics, everything is falling, right? So that's where these alternative sources have risen, and like whether it's satellite imagery, whether it's the Glassdoor reviews. Like I'm even talking about things like trade publications and local journals, right? So which is important source of company information, which is not captured in some of the usual mainline reports and press releases and all that stuff. So I think the alternative sources and the data that needs to be captured, there is a lot of value when it comes to usage of AI and some of these techniques, right? And for now, they think that you can extract alpha from that alternative sources to complement your traditional sources of data, right? I want to kind of conclude with, I know the session is called automation, but I do want to highlight the limitations of automation when it comes to ESG, right? I mean, there are, ESG is highly contextual. It is company specific, right? I know that everyone tries, the data providers, they all try to come up with this so-called ESG score. And I typically ask this question, is this a good ESG company and so on. But the answer is there are multiple ways of analyzing ESG, and your traditional ways of scoring and weighting and this thing, it only goes so far. There is always going to be room for analysts when it comes to exercising judgment on top of all the automation, right? So I'm not suggesting there should be no automation and everyone should have different opinions and so on, but there is always going to be that value of that analyst judgment. I think that's what makes ESG interesting.
Absolutely. Very interesting point. I'm going to pick up the last point that you've mentioned because a lot of people do believe that when it comes down to automation, I've done automation, then there shouldn't be anything, manual that needs to be done. And I do believe that there isn't black and white. There is augmentation, which is more important than pure automation. So by augmentation, it is that if something that was taking a user or a researcher 45 minutes can we augment that by just 30 minutes, 35 minutes. Excuse me. Can we just help and improve and do the value add rather than, to your point, the information is available on Glassdoor, it's available on website, it's available in a variety of sources. Can we bring all that information in terms of extraction and then allow the researcher to make decision about what to do with that data, how to present that data? I think that's a very important combination in my view. Any quick thoughts on that, Shivan?
Yeah, so that's the so you need process and then you need judgment, right? So you can't have simply judgment by and then ask him to go around searching for
Yeah.
all this information manually and so on and so forth, right? Because people have only so much mental capacity, right? So that's the part that is there. But beyond that, but it's not automation is not the end point, right? So automation needs to lead to better decisions, and I think that's where the human judgment comes to play. We have this concept in CFA Institute called AI and HI. So there is artificial intelligence and human intelligence, right? So that's that you can't just remove that part for sure.
It's funny that it's human intelligence is named, called out after artificial intelligence. It's just
I
ironic.
can.
Google, you have something to say.
Yeah. So I just wanted to touch upon the point, right? So one side, ESG, comes with the explosion of data you have to process, right? It's not just the filings. You have to review sites. You have to think about the litigations, and you have to analyze the news articles. Any, I mean, lot of data you have to process. That's one. And the intelligence or the judgment, humans are the best to do the judgment. Now you have to connect the two. So if you ask humans to go and find where the information is, they will be bored. They cannot do that, and literally it's not right to do also.
Correct.
Now that's where AI can do. We can, I mean, I'm using the word we from in the context of AI. So AI can go and get the data, documents of your interest, and also it can surface. Okay, this is what I'm thinking as a risky thing. For example, there is a very bad review about a leadership team. You want to have a look.
Right.
Then this human can take a decision. Okay, yes, this will have an impact or not. So that's where, I mean, we have to augment the human or subject matter experts. That's the critical part here in this HI plus AI.
Yeah.
Okay. So very clear. It's coming to the fact. I think that's the next topic that I want to pick up for the next 5-7 minutes and take everybody's comment over there. So research is very subjective. The reason why it has not been touched through automation, which has typically been with RPA, is because RPA operates on a structured data, and it can find information for you in terms of a structure. But when it comes down to unstructured, which is what subject matter experts, which is what people do, and that is the part, that's the core when it comes down to ESG research, when it comes down to capital market, investment banking, etc. And so the question really is, can research be standardized? Can it be done in such a way that a standard research requirements can be established to a point where it can be replicated, it can be scaled? So maybe Mahesh, I'm going to start with you. A very quick reaction from your side, and I'm going to go ahead to Yatin after that. If you're still on, Mahesh. All right, I have Mahesh frozen. Yatin, if you're there, if you could just have a quick reaction in terms of what do you think about research being subjective? Can automation even look at it? You mentioned things like blockchain and ML technologies. So absolutely, your quick thoughts there.
My thoughts are technologies are enablers, but the decisions need to be done by individuals.
Mm-hmm.
For example, we get inputs from Glassdoor, but Glassdoor inputs can be biased, sent by or inputted by people who were discontented with the organization or were removed because of the market scenarios or whatever may be. So you cannot suddenly make a decision based on only information. That's point number one. Point number two, human judgment is very important because The moment, right, automation comes, machine learning comes, we get flooded with veracity of the data. Some data says do this, some data says do this. And that is where human interface, human intelligence is very important. So I would say experience. So technologies are enablers. They are tools for humans to reach scale, to achieve speed, right, to achieve in-depth things. But their work cannot be substituted by technology, right? So we should term, and rightly said, all these technologies are tools. They are enablers. But the authority to take inference out of that, to derive decisions out of that, relies on experienced individuals. So that is my take on your question.
Sure, sure. Appreciate that. And I think that's what we have, if I talk about our platform and even technology perspective, there's a term called human in the loop, which I think is a very, very important term, more so when we talk about AI, because you want to make sure that what AI is predicting, extracting, somebody takes a look at it by the time before you have, full confidence towards that. So Juza, coming to you with the same question, what do you think about in terms of research? Yatin has had his points, which I think are absolutely valid. What are your thoughts around that?
See, my thoughts are that I agree. So the decision has to be taken by the human, okay, by the experienced individual. But AI can at least help in providing the data in a structured manner. How will he make a decision unless and until it is provided in a concise and a summarized manner? Okay, where you have to take decisions in a time bound manner. They have to be taken at the right time, and taking into consideration various aspects. So AI has to help in comes in where it can provide the data in a summarized manner and nothing is missed out. So that is something which the technology has to support. Without technology, currently also, if the analyst is taking a decision, he's using some or the other technology to assimilate and summarize and interpret the data.
Very
So
much.
so AI will obviously help in that. But yeah, it has to be able to remove the clutter which is there already, which is coming with the data, in a raw form. So that is my take. So yes, AI will have to, it will help research guys to take the right decision.
And I think what we are talking about specifically is being able to information to the researcher. Of course, the researcher also decides what the source of information has to be looked at. I mean, Nathan pointed out that, okay, Glassdoor is there, but maybe you have to look at it from a different lens as well. So that's understood that, the researcher will provide, okay, I want to go ahead and look at these pieces. But I think the point of a platform like, Botminds really is we do the extraction of the data and then we don't make decisions for you. We just do the hard work of pulling the information out, present it to you. Like I
Correct.
mentioned, you can start, interacting with it to see if there's something worth reporting here, if there's something worth using here. That's the augmentation that is there. So before Mahesh, I come to you, Gokul, I want quickly your thought here on, is there a way in Botman's platform where, of course, we have human loop, I just mentioned that. Is there a way in the platform in which people can see why AI is predicting, picking up certain, data over the other, both in terms of accuracy, both in terms of prediction? What are the options which are available on a platform like Botminds?
Got it. So, I mean, we are talking about AI that learned from subject matter experts. Basically, it's a it's a supervised learning, or we ask for input. So the subject matter experts loaded some documents and they said that this is what I know I meant by, let's say, carbon emissions, or energy consumed. Okay, so they're giving examples, right? The subject matter experts, they literally train the AI. Okay, so when it again surfaces the value, where a completely a new document comes in, it looks at the document, it says, okay, this is the value I think the energy consumed last year. Okay, but it's not saying I'm confident 100%, but it says confidence. Okay, this is 95%. I'm 95% certain this is the value for energy consumed last year. And the alongside you will see another value which says 85% confidence or 75% confidence. But that's why you don't have to go through the 200 page. It picks all the possible or potential values for that energy consumed last year. So the confidence score, right? Now, as a human, I mean subject matter expert, I can quickly see the high confidence score. Most likely it will be correct. If it is not, then you go to the second and third, then you confirm, okay, even though it is 70%, this is the correct value. It's just one click. You're telling the system, again, you made a mistake, learn it from. I mean, again, it goes for the learning, right? That is what, and on top of it, at a high level, our system says, okay, in the last 1 day or, 10 days, a lot of corrections happen on this particular data point. I mean, that means, I need an update. I mean, you can very well see, okay, this model is not performing to the level, it expected. So all the corrections should go as a, to go to the new model. I mean, you can create new model. So when you create a new model, you can compare with the old model. Okay, till the end of the last week, the model used to perform at 65%, 70%. Now it is improved. So the transparency, right? Botminds platform. I mean, to comment from Botminds AI standpoint, it's completely transparent system, right at a data point level extraction. When it extracts, it says what is the percentage, and also when you are generating a model, you can see what kind of accuracies you can expect. So that's a the two level of transparency you have in our platform.
All right, thanks, Hugo. Yes, Shivana. I think you have a comment. Sorry, you're on mute. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think to your point, right? So about this, the analysts can provide that input and make it smarter and so on, right? One thing I realized, and I used to be a quantitative research analyst at MSCI and Morningstar, right before CFA Institute, and we used to work with AI models and so on, right? The trick when it comes to AI models is to figure out what is the acceptable level of accuracy in those models, right? And that is situation specific. The different use cases, like one use case might require a 99%, you need to be near perfect. Another use case, when we are reporting, like, generally, what is the tilts of your portfolios compared to benchmark, okay? I don't care whether it's a 1 standard deviation or 1.1 standard deviation, right? I'm not interested in that level of accuracy. I just want to know whether it's positive or negative, right? So that's my first thing. So the trick is to not only make the thing smarter by using analyst decisions, but also have the judgment to say what is the level of accuracy people are comfortable with. You don't need 100% accuracy for every situation, right? And that's where I think once again the human judgment comes into picture.
So that's
very well said.
I want to close on everybody's view on that. We're talking about the accuracy and what's the acceptable accuracy within the AI. So I want to leave 10 minutes for audience Q&A. So Juzer, I'm coming to you first. Any thoughts about what's the accuracy that you're looking at? Not necessarily the percentage here, but a very good point that every single thing may have different kind of accuracies that you're looking at, or different kind of prediction that comes from AI. Your quick, parting thoughts at the end on that.
See, from a standard data set, you would always want it to be 100% accurate, right? So if you're taking some investor data and you are pushing it somewhere for for a client onboarding, you need it 100%. But yeah, from a subjective perspective, from a legal perspective, you can say if you are picking up data for legal interpretation or for that matter, then yes, there may be a little less requirement of an accuracy. So it depends. Essentially, it depends upon the kind of data AI is using to interpret. So it can be subjective.
Yeah,
that's my take on it.
Thanks for that, Juzer. I think the key point really is that it's not just AI's data, how much percentage is that. It is very clear that the way the work is being done today gets 100% output. Whatever technology I use at the back, I still need 100% output. That really means that if a human is doing 100% of the work and I'm getting 100% output there, that's fine. If AI is doing 20, 30, 40% of the work, then the human has to do other 40, 60% of the work to get to 100%. I think that variability needs to increase over a period of time so that the amount of workload or the work that human needs to do at the end kind of needs to be on a declining number, because that end result that you need to deliver, because we're talking about a regulated industry more than anything else, needs to be absolutely 100%. So I don't think there's any challenge there. Mahesh, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, I can just add. Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, very well.
Okay,
yes.
I can add 2 examples over here, which is really my personal experience. One, when I'm saying I need 100% accuracy, so I can use AI to add little bit more data in the universe of my stock where my investment strategies can be defined. For example, I got a 5 or 6 parameters which is readily available through a structured data. But there are certain financials, there are certain reports related to those stocks, which I can use AI and make my analysis more deepen and more accurate. Okay. And create that structured data through that AI and add it to my existing data. And now my parameters are increased from 5 to 7 or 8. Now my decision making is gone to a next level. Okay. This is where I'm trying to do 100% accuracy. Now coming to the less percentage of accuracy from AI, when I am doing a prediction, for example, I am preparing a consumption index. I don't have readily the consumption details across the country right now. I get it after, say, a delay of 5 or 7 days. Now I run that data through certain matrix to predict what is going to be the next best industry. Now with this prediction, okay, if combined by AI, I don't want an 100% accuracy in that prediction, but it should be somewhere near to that prediction so that my call in advance of that what is going to happen will be more accurate.
Yep. Okay, thanks for that. So with that, I will wrap up the Q&A or the last of the questions for the panel conversation. Thank you very much, panelists, for your valuable thoughts and sharing your experience. I do not see any questions on the chat, but to all the attendees who are here, please feel free to take a name of one of the panelists and ask your question. You can do it via audio or video or via chat itself.
Yes, we request all the participants and attendees to please share your questions in the chat box, specifying the speaker name so that they can answer your questions. Or you can raise your hand so that we can unmute you to ask the question.
While that is getting done, I would open this up to all the panelists. Any open thoughts from your side based on what you've seen, what interactions we've had? Just take a minute, and if you want to share something from your side, that'll be great while we're waiting for the questions to come in. Anyone can start.
So I had just one point, right? So I think the reason, like when we think about this whole unstructured data and why people care about it so much, right? One of the things is the value of a company value, which can be attributed to financial statements, right? And that number used to be like very high, like even like 20 years back. And that number has fallen precipitously, right? So most of the company's value comes from non-financial information, right? So I mean, Facebook's market cap and Facebook's this one has no bearing on its Facebook's profitability and cash flow and all that stuff, right? So I think like it's true for tech companies, but it's true for other companies too, right? I think even the value destruction comes from things like a bad tweet and all that stuff, right? So I think so that's where I guess like analysts, when they look at companies, it's no longer enough for them to look at this financial statements, and that's why they're relying on this unstructured data. Just wanted to say that.
Who would have imagined the water versus Coca-Cola tweet storm?
Yeah. Yeah.
That shaved out a lot of market cap there. That's cool. Any thoughts from you, user? We're just closing it out. There are no more questions, so I'm just opening it up for any closing thoughts.
So AI is definitely the way ahead. Okay, but before going for unstructured data, see, in the sense there are degrees of unstructured data, right? So there is data which is coming in, which is quite standard, which AI can easily process and fasten the transaction. And there is more complex unstructured data which AI can help you in terms of interpreting and making decisions. So that bifurcation needs to be done in the sense what. So whenever we go for exams, right, we solve the easier questions fast, right? So we should always look at using the current technology to solve our easier problems, which will reduce the number of the quantity, the quantum which is required, the difficulty to be required, right? So, so that has to be first, addressed, and then obviously more complex problems will be, solutions will be achieved once the system understands how AI actually automatically learns things, right? So it will evolve, and the technology will become much more efficient in terms of interpreting data. So this is my take. So in the sense, whatever the low hanging fruit should be, first taken up so that it can solve problems. Systems industry players, get used to this technology, which is quite nascent right now, at least in India, in the AMC space. People have just started, taking it up right now, and thereafter obviously, there is no end to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thanks for sharing.
I'm seeing the great divide as well. I mean, just talked about, it's still evolving, not yet started AI, but there are a good number of asset management companies in India on the forefront of AI that aggressively using AI for things. But at the same time, a lot of companies are still evaluating whether we should take the plunge or not. So I'm seeing great divide also while talking to the customers. And but one, as you said, AI is a must. I mean, no other way. You have to adapt AI. That's what I'm also getting. Yeah, I can see one more question here in the chat. Sentiments. Maybe I can take that question quickly. So sentiment. Yeah. Sentiment and analysis are right. I mean that's the grand world problem, right? The moment you have a data document or transcript, how you can quickly identify whether it is positive or negative. That's it's readily available. You can create to yourself. What is negative for you may not be the negative for other company. So you can define what is negative, what is positive, and you can train the AI. That's the power of Botminds platform. You can define what is negative and you can train AI to do that. That's one level, but also you can go for granular sentiments. Like, okay, that paragraph is a negative, but I want to know where, for example, people call aspect sentiment, right? Your product is discussed, but yeah, for example, camera is not so good, but the phone is, I'm so happy with the phone. That is aspect level sentiment. I mean I'm giving you a crude example, but even same in the at a company level, or transcript you can also train. That's that level of sentiment understanding you can do with the state of art AI currently.
Fantastic. With that, I will conclude the panel conversation. So Shivanand, Mr. Mahesh, Juzer, Yatin, and Gokul, thank you very much for your contribution and sharing your knowledge. I'll hand it back to you, Sim, to close the webinar.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining the session today. It was great pleasure having you. I thank all the speakers, Vikas, Gokul, and other panel members who shared grateful insights out of their experience and in great information in regards to capital markets and investment banking.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, audience. If you have any queries or questions, you can reach out to us over email so that we can connect you with Vikas or Gokul for further discussion. There would be an email coming to you tomorrow with all the details, and you can respond or revert on that to have further discussion with Vikas or Anand from Botmind. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much.
Very much.
Good evening. Take care. Bye bye.